Mining for change was the theme. All here agree that change is likely to prove difficult and painful for South Africa. This robust debate on transformation in the mining industry couldn't have come at a more apt moment. There's a little uncertainty right now over future mining policy, and in mining circles, the air is thick with talk of nationalisation. Many here were disappointed that the mining minister sent her apologies and couldn't speak on transformation. But the South African Mining Development Association had its figures. Now, the mining charter, agreed by government, business and the unions, agreed 15% of the industry would be under black ownership by 2009, 26% by 2014. Researchers for SAMDA say in 2010, the figure for black ownership is a mere 5%. And Chaka Mloyi is the chairman of SAMDA. He spent 7 years as Deputy Director General at the South African Mining Ministry and knows transformation is tricky. What are the biggest problems?
My guess is that the problems around the structuring of the deals, the financial sustainability, the financial structures that have been put in place.
What's going to happen if we carry on the way we are?
The worst will happen. I think a lot of people maybe in Zimbabwe thought that Mugabe was mad when started, and things actually really went wrong in that country because the people who mattered in that country did not take the social issues seriously.
What about the contentious issues like nationalisation?
Nationalisation means different things to different people. So my view is always to say to people, define what you are saying when you talk about nationalisation. And firstly, that's the first thing. The second thing is that define clearly what is it that you are trying to achieve. Because if we know what we mean and we know exactly what we are going to achieve, there are a lot of vehicles that you can use to achieve those objectives.
There have been whispers of more radical action, nationalisation. The conference heard compensation alone would cost up to 2 trillion rand. Cambridge University academic Ruben Gonzalez Vicente spent 3 years studying resource nationalism in South America.
The biggest danger is that the government suddenly just replaces the mining companies and just repeats the same patterns of resource extraction, and the same social problems are repeated again and again, and people doesn't really see much benefit from those, especially people at the places where extraction is taking place.
So Australia's got its own problems, and certainly not in a position to be telling South Africa how to, what their roadmap should look like.
But if you think South Africa has problems, you should look at Australia, a not-so-lucky country with declining ore quality and 125 taxes on mining.
You can also use the C word, corruption. And I want to out Australia a little bit today because I think a lot of people like to think that corruption just happens in developing countries, but it's alive and well in Australia.
Mining policy changes can be dynamite. That's according to Charles Rocher, the head of the NGO Mineral Policy Institute in Australia. He believes the proposed 40% tax on corporate profits was the final nail in former Premier Kevin Rudd's coffin.
A cautionary tale that the mining had a lot to do with his final demise. And that was because he needed to prove himself, and the mining companies needed to defend themselves, and there could only be one winner. I think we could be really innovative when we look at tax regimes for mining industries that actually reduce taxes for mining companies that performed well on their social and environmental criteria. I think there's no better way to capture the board's attention in mining companies than to say, if you do these things well, you pay less tax.
Food for thought for the mining industry of South Africa as it struggles against an uneasy past and a difficult future.